We are live.
Hi, my name is Wendy Rosenthal. I am a Pathfinder, and I bet you're wondering what that is. And I'm very excited today to be here to share for one of the first of many conversations that we're planning on having about how about Pathfinder, about finding a pathway to the answers that are inside of you that we want to unlock and help you discover yourself. The reason that we're here with my friend Rachel Madar, who I'm going to talk to in a few minutes, is because for a really long time, like over 20 years, I'm kind of embarrassed, not embarrassed to say, but it definitely shows my age. I have been working as a business strategy and marketing consultant. I've worked all over the world. I have lived in London for many years, and I have been a part of many successes and a part of many failures. And along the way, I decided that I wanted to have some kind of internal transformational path where I could really look inside of me as I was going outside and doing the things I was doing. So I started that a long time ago, probably 25 years now. Oh, there's a dog. I love it when dogs come in and say hello.
Yeah, he just joined us now.
Yeah. Um, so so as I kind of was working with different clients, everybody from the most senior people in companies, the C-suite execs on their projects, down to the people who are kind of mid-level management executing the jobs that they need to execute, I learned a lot. I learned about corporations, about entrepreneurs, and I have seen how people fail and how people succeed. And then a few years back, I had an aha moment where I realized that, I've been doing all this kind of internal work, and I've been applying it to just myself, like my relationships, my marriage, my parents, my friends. And I never really made the connection of putting any of that internal work into my business. I'm sure Rachel can attest to this. Even though I'm going to introduce her in a minute, I might keep talking to her. So it it was really an interesting moment where I thought to myself, I could take some of these tools that I'm learning about how to be a more mindful person, and I can start putting it into how I do my business. And I thought to myself, I wonder how that is going to look. Like, are people going to see me as like kind of using these, what sometimes people call airy fairy tools, or are they going to say, hey, like her energy is different, like she does things differently. So I started to implement these tools, which some of which we're going to talk about as we continue these little discussions, um, because I actually started to feel better about who I am in my work setting, not just in my home setting or my personal setting, but in my work setting. I started to become more confident. I started to have fun with what I was doing. I stopped worrying about every little detail of what my client was thinking about me. Was I going to have a job the next week? Like, all these things started to shift for me. And then about a year ago, I had an epiphany. Have you ever had one of those, Rachel, where you're like it's like even bigger than an aha moment, right? It's not an aha moment. It's like a whoa,
It's
whoa,
controlling
whoa.
you. It just,
Huh?
it's those moments that it controls you, and you don't know how it showed up
Right. Exactly.
into your life. How that door opened, and you haven't even paid attention that that door got
Exactly.
open.
Exactly. So I had one of those moments where I thought to myself, look, I've been 20 years on a path of internal work, and I've been 20 years on a path of business where I've used those tools in business. And I saw so many people around me struggling. I thought to myself, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe what I need to be doing is working one-on-one with people who have business aspirations, whatever they are, personal careers, starting a business, CEOs of companies, to help them integrate and bridge, which I'm now going to say it out loud. I'm saying it out loud, Rachel. Are you ready?
Yes.
Business and spirituality.
Yep.
Can it really exist in the same place? And so I shifted what I was looking at. I stopped thinking about big corporations as my clients, and you know, I'm sure over the course of these conversations I'll share more about who I've worked with and the places that I've worked. But I really started to say I want to work one-on-one, because I know that when I use these practices in my daily work life, things opened up for me. So I put myself out there. It was the scariest thing I ever did. And I said, I don't even want to say the words because I don't believe it. So I'm not going to say those words. I am a pathfinder. I am a pathfinder. And why did I choose pathfinder to call myself that? Because I really believe that internally to everybody, we have all the answers, and that life is a process. And there's a disconnect between seeing how the process is moving forward and how things are moving forward in our careers, our business, and our thinking, and connecting to those answers that are inside. So I chose Pathfinder because I have the ability to help people find that path around an obstacle to a new answer through a business. And I launched a website, and I wanted to bring in people to this group. And that's what we call this Pathfinder Mastermind, who have been on both sides, who not only are working in building, not only building their careers, but businesses, but who do it in a spiritual way, but also those people who have helped very big business people take spirituality into business. And that is exactly why Rachel Madar is with me. And she's going to continue to be with me as we have these conversations, because not only has she started businesses in her life, but she also has helped many, many successful people find the spirituality within and help them bring it to the forefront. So Rachel and I together and separately have a group of products that we work on. We have sessions one-on-one with people. We're going to talk more about those. My sessions are often about helping somebody see their way as what's blocking them in their business, helping them take ideas out of their head and actually start to manifest them. I also am coaching executives on how to take spiritual practices into their world. I love astrology, and I found that I have this really unique knack for looking at, I don't want to say unique knack, it's a gift, for seeing people's astrological chart in a very foundational way that helps them see what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and connecting them all together. So I'm out there doing astrological charts, which I also love. And then along the way, I discovered something that I didn't intend to discover. So I really feel like the universe put it right into my lap, that we all have 3 very fundamental attributes that our souls really can't help but express. We don't always know what it is, but when we know what it is, then we can tap into those 3 attributes to really help us to be guided to what is the best job for us, how to work better in a team, how to feel fulfillment from what we're doing. Because when those 3 attributes are in balance, that's when we are like in synchrony. Rachel, I've talked a lot about myself. Can you give maybe a little bit, you know, a background of who you are and what you do and what we're doing together?
Yeah. And everyone who's listening and watching now and will watch later, whatever Wendy told you about herself, it's absolutely right and more. And whoever is interested in creating businesses now, especially now that when this time of this pandemic that pushed us for excellence. This is how I believe. We're in time now that pushed us to realize more about our gifts and our greatness. And I know that some of you and some people that you know really into a place where I want to be more independent. I want to create my business, but how are we going to do it? What are the steps? How we can do it that we will not fail? And this is Pathfinder. This is Wendy, and this is where I'm coming into this picture, where we created this product that is designed especially for you guys that want to get a support step by step. And my place is, I have 20 years of experience of teaching, lecturing, supporting people in spirituality. I've been a teacher and a member of the Kabbalah Center for that long, managing different products, different locations of the Kabbalah Center, and teaching as well. I have different types of credential, if I may say, not just as a coach, as a mediator, a CBT practitioner, but the main thing is really my spiritual background and my spiritual gift that I bring into this table, into these meetings. One of them is called the Soul's Compass, is to identify more of your essence, the gifts of your soul. What are your attributes? What are those things that you wish to identify them as blockages, and that we will want to transform them into positive aspects that will not just bring you into being a better businesswoman or businessman, also a better human being in every aspect in your life. So if you're up to it, we are here to support you and help you with that. And there's always a question, right, about how business and spirituality work together. So I believe that this is our session for the day.
Yeah, we wanted to first just introduce ourselves.
Right.
And you can find what we do on www.pathfinder, the number one, TO, the number one.com. But really what we want to use these sessions for is to kind of is to explore some of the topics that are out there, bring experts in at some point to talk about their experience. And there's so many things just Rachel and I find when we're working with people. Like, it's incredible what prevents people from actually really tapping into their potential in their careers and even in their life. You know, we focus on business because we're really about building that bridge between business and spirituality and making practical and
absolutely
like making spirituality practical. But it's really interesting to see how it does all impact what you're doing in lots of different ways. So the question that we really wanted to talk about today was, like, who cares? Do you really need, spirituality in business? Do we really need it? And, I wanted to spend a couple of minutes to argue the fact that I believe we need it now even more than we ever did. That the world is changing so much. I mean, okay, let's say, yes, coronavirus is really impacting a lot of people. People have lost jobs. Businesses are closing. There's so much stress and tension that as the world rebuilds, and by the way, I don't know about you, Rachel, but I feel 100% the world is going to rebuild in even a better way. I think this is something that is helping us, all kind of clean out some of the cobwebs and some of the ways that we cling to, the traditions that we cling to in business and in our lives. So I think as businesses are going to rebuild, and they will, if they aren't addressing or putting in not just emotional intelligence. I want to say that spirituality is something different than emotional intelligence. Let's call it spiritual intelligence. That without it, businesses are not going to thrive. They're not. They're going to have to include this in what they're doing. I don't know how you feel about that, Rachel.
I think that let's talk about, what does it mean, spirituality?
Yeah, it's a great point.
What does it mean? Like, a lot of people probably that hear us right now asking, what does it mean? Do I need to believe in God? What if my beliefs are different than yours? Can I be successful in what I do? How it's all connected. And I want to define just spirituality in probably a different way, or just a clearer way than most people think.
Well, and this is where we come from. This is why we believe it, right?
Yes, exactly. So when we talk about spirituality, it's not just talking about a person that is a good person, or is a person who is donating or volunteering in their community and a tribe, which is amazing. We all need to continue to do that, and we always need to think about the other person. And it really brings more unity into our life, and it brings more harmony, and actually we feel good about ourselves, right? but becoming a person of, we can define a spiritual person, and then we'll see how it's a spiritual business person. But when we're talking about a spiritual person, is someone that really is striving all the time to look inside. What is that I need to make a change in order for my life to flow much better? Yeah, things are going well right now, but I wanted to be the best in my life, in different areas in my life. How can I look inside and identify more things that may be blocking me right now, and I want to bring them into the surface and see, okay, what are the tools that I can use to take this and to transform? For example, if we have certain, a lot of people, a lot of us are getting offended so easily. If someone talks about us behind our back or in front of our face, or if we overheard a rumor that someone say that maybe we are so and so, and maybe they overheard something about us, and automatically our immediate natural reaction is that we getting offended.
Mhm.
And when we get offended, some people, I don't know how about you guys, but some getting shut down, some getting angrier, some scream. Like each one of us has different reaction. And obviously, let's say if we are shut down, therefore it's not we are shutting down for that moment, we are shutting down maybe for the rest of the day.
Right.
And so what's happening in our business for the rest of the day? What's happened with our communication? What is that I need to close a business today or a business deal today, and that because I was offended a half hour ago, I'm like now not in the mood for it. So we wanted to identify those things also. And this is how I see being a spiritual person, is always look within side and not be controlled by the external
Right.
situation and people that may control us.
So that's what I really want to pick up on, because I agree with everything that you're saying about what's being a spiritual person is. It's a start internal first and then go external. But interesting. So you say, okay, great. So I go to work and I might be doing that, but how is that impacting everything? And yes, it does impact. It will impact. It will have an impact on those around you and how you're perceived and what you're doing. But also what excites me so much is taking it to that next level, right?
Right.
So it's taking like certain spiritual practices and tools, and this isn't about religion. You don't even have to be associated with one spiritual place or another. It's just recognizing that there are universal truths, and there's like, just like a conveyor belt works or a computer works, like there's certain there's certain physical laws that have to happen. Well, there's metaphysical laws that have to happen. And when you master it a little bit, not even a lot, you don't even have to understand, like you don't have to be a guru, or you don't have to, when you understand just a little bit about the kind of how the universe works. And it's funny because in all of my years of studying spirituality, we talked about the Kabbalah Center, that's my personal path, but it doesn't matter if you follow Deepak Chopra or if you follow, Ayurvedic or you're Buddhist or you're whatever, it doesn't matter. Like there are universal truths that you find in all of them. And those that you find in all of them are the ones that are really, that kind of are explaining the operation of the universe. Now, think about that. The operation of the universe is a pretty big business, right? It's a big business. And it's not perfect, but the world has grown. We now have 7 billion people in it. We, for the most part, have resources. There may not be spread evenly, but the universe has provided enough resources for those 7 billion people in terms of land and food. Again, we can talk about distribution, but it's all here. So it's been a pretty successful business. So if you know some of those truths, right, and you understand what's working, then when you come up in your business against a supply chain issue that is causing you not to be able to get as much of your product out there that there's demand for, or if you are a CEO having to answer to a board and if it's a public company, to your shareholders, and there's not good news, there are mechanisms and ways that you can use in those situations to kind of reframe everything for yourself, for your business, for your employees. when employees have a spiritual intelligence, then they are not as um, um, affected by the ups and downs of business, right? I mean, we talk about spirituality as a way of kind of evening out the chaos.
It's like, even if a person currently has a very successful business, we have certain uh, tools and ways to get like that you've used in your successful business. But we always reach in a certain time a plateau. There is a time that we're reaching, like we hit the ceiling, the glass ceiling, if we can say. And this is where the tools that we have, this is where the spirituality that comes into play and allowing us to break that glass, to move on to our next level. And to move on to a next level, it's not just necessarily just in sustenance and prosperity and a lot of money. It's really to expand more of what is that you're selling, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, what is that you're selling, and to move it to the next level. How is the communication between you, if you're the boss, to your employees, how you can move that relationship into the next level? How is the relationship that you as a business owner with your partner in life and your family, how this can move to a next level? So it's not to just we're not referring only those who just want to start a new business, and we, of course, we have a whole path for that, but also for you that as business owners, that you reached a certain plateau, or you do not want to reach that, you already want to initiate
Right.
initiate some steps to break that ceiling before we even get in there. And this is something that it's also powerful, and we're there to help.
So I agree, and I just want to add one more thing before we end this particular session, that as I mentioned at the top of this, that the world is changing. We cannot go back to doing things the way we were doing before.
Absolutely.
We just
Absolutely.
can't. And I heard a great visual, or a friend shared a visual with me about how, like, we were on, I think I mentioned this to you the other day, Rachel, like we were on this timeline, like this, the world was on a timeline that it served us. Look at how amazing the world is today, the technology that we have, the ability to communicate. Everybody now, like, the world was built so now that each one of us can not only do what is our true purpose, right, and really add to the collective amazingness of the world, right? We're going to have, all of us are going to be having that opportunity, but in that sense, we can't go back. Like, this has shifted the world. The coronavirus didn't just happen to Americans, it happened to everybody. When something happens to everybody, there's a big sign from the universe, right, that it's time to shift. And look, everybody's shifting. Businesses are going online more. People are staying home. We're spending more time with our kids. We're using technology in a different way that's going to keep pushing things to advance. So what we really, and why we want to talk about is spirituality and business important, is because as that timeline shifts and we start a new one, and it's coming, you can feel it coming, we're going to get past all of this, the virus, we're going to get past it, and then we're almost kind of cleared stuff out. The more people that are resonating at a higher level, that are thinking about the sharing practices, the how can I shift internally to affect a wider scope of people, how can my products help the world?
Exactly. And how can I bring harmony into my life, and therefore there'll be more harmony in other people's life? It's just, there is certainly an awakening right now that is taking place, and we're there to give you those, not just the tools, but the knowledge that can really support you, even with the current maybe stress that you may feel, or the fears that we all subject to worldwide. How we can use that and understand what it means to each one of us, because each one of us has a different perspective of what this fear and what the stress and those emotions that are coming up, and we would like to identify them and to see how it serves us, and if it doesn't serve us, how we shifting it around.
Right. How we're reframing it.
Exactly.
And the Pathfinder Mastermind talks that we're going to be doing on Facebook Live and beyond that are really going to also focus on what are some of those tools. How can what we're talking about help your sales? How can what we're talking about expand your business? How can we, like tools so that you can really, like, again, we're bridging the spiritual with the practical. Rachel and I are super action oriented. We don't just sit and meditate about things, although meditation is one of those good tools that you can use. We really put things into action. That's who we are, and that's what we want to share with you, is to not look at spirituality as an airy-fairy practice, but for real grounded, business focused tools that can help you do what you're really meant to be here doing. And even if that's selling toilet paper, which may not sound so exciting, but let me tell you something, we all need it, as we discovered a few months back, that you will be able to do it in a way that's going to be more fulfilling for yourself, a win-win for your clients and your customers. And we're really looking forward to sharing more with you. So if you're interested in talking to either one of us, you can head on to our website, www.pathfinder1.com. That's Pathfinder 1-to-1. You can reach out to me at Wendy at pathfinder1.com. And
we are on Facebook and Instagram, and you're welcome to share this conversation. And actually, I would like even from all of you to send us the topics and the challenges that you're going through right now that you would like us to speak about and to share with you, because we all one, and we want to share with you as you share with us.
Exactly. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.